So in my presentations, I teach ecliptic science. And so what you do is, to do this, to understand how tropical astrology works, it's natural. It's natural astrology. It works straight from nature. You can see it coming, speaking to you directly from nature. So this is the equator of the Earth. Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. Always in the northern hemisphere is the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees parallel or latitude north. And this is Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer. Always in the southern hemisphere, always, in any map, is Capricorn. These tropics will never change. They'll never move. They'll always be there. The equator will always be in the middle. So what you have is the ecliptic runs from the equator, where it should begin, goes up to the Tropic of Cancer, then it goes down to Capricorn, and then it meets back up at the equator again. So this is the ecliptic, and these are the tropical points. There are 4 of them, called the tropical points. So tropical astrology comes from these tropical points. And they never move. We are right here now, aren't we? The 1st of January it is today, 2020. We're right here. The solstice of the 21st was 10 days ago. These are 12 days of Christmas, more or less. But we are here right now. Okay, and we celebrated today. Everybody's telling, we went around to the shops before, have a happy new year. Okay, so they believe that the year begins here, which it does, the secular year in Capricorn. Because now the sun is waxing. So that's the true beginning, especially since the 25th of December, when the sun begins to actually move from that death point of the 21st, where it is, where it dies, the Son of God dies, shortest day of the year, and then on the 25th, the birthday of the sun, lo and behold, it begins to wax. So it is the beginning of the year. In astrology, we take the beginning point from here, because here the sun begins to bring longer days and shorter nights. Therefore, that is the beginning of that 180-day cycle. So that also is a beginning point. And it's more natural to begin anything at that point of a sine wave, because that's where the sine wave is at the neutral point. Because wave amplitude, this is unbalance. Balance is where naturally you would begin any cycle. So you have 2 contending points for beginning of the year. This is the beginning of the secular year of Capricorn, because the sun is in Capricorn. So at the Tropic of Capricorn. So when the sun's there, it's going to find the sign of Capricorn. And there it is, right in the sun. Here we have Aries for 30 degrees along the ecliptic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 30. 30 days, 30 degrees. This is Aries. And this is the first sign in astrology. And April 1st, there's January 1st. Here is April 1st, and this is why you would be called a fool to celebrate April as the start of the year. So the Roman mentality or conditioning will have you believe that this is not the start of the year, because this is the start of the spiritual and natural year, where the blossom begins in Aries, the blossom. And so the blossom is the true sign of the beginning, because then comes the fruit. So every cycle begins there, out of the death of winter. Winter prepares, this is the waxing sun building up until it passes over into the Lamb of God. And you see the Jews celebrate the Passover, Christians celebrate Easter, always the Lamb of God resurrecting. See, in theology, the Son of God resurrects here, the Lamb of God, Jesus. It's always getting resurrected on Nicene 14, which is Aries, the solstice. And the Jews always celebrate the Passover. There's the Passover on the full moon here in Aries all the time. Well, in astrology, the sister science of theology, this is where the sun exalts. The sun exalts here in astrology, but in theology it resurrects. Those are the same word. To exalt means to come up, to resurrect. You see, because of course this is the only sign where the sun could possibly exalt, because it has exalted over the darkness of winter and fall.
Right.
And so here the sun is conquered. It is not exalting. It is in hell. Inferno. Whoops. Infernal. Inferno is hell, but in Latin, inverno is winter. See, inferno, inverno, vernal. Yeah.
Invierno.
Invierno. In Spanish it's the same. Infierno, invierno. In Italian, inverno, inferno.
Okay.
So what is infernal is when the sun goes down to hell and Tommy, St. Thomas Day, the 21st of December. So that's where it's crucified. Tammuz gets crucified, gets killed by a beast, you see? The son of Nimrod or what have you. So you've got these two vying points for the beginning. So tropical astrology, because the seasons never move, the equinox will always be here on the 21st of March. The solstice will always be here on the 21st of June. The equinox on the 23rd of September will always be here, the autumnal. And then the solstice will always be here. This just doesn't move. And so those seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, golden age, silver age, bronze, iron age, morning, afternoon, evening, night, spring, summer, autumn, winter, it's all the same cycle. And this wave here is the same as any other wave. Sound wave, light wave, water wave, thought wave, emotion wave. This wave here, this sine wave here, describes every wave that has ever been in the universe and how it comes out of the transcendental point anywhere in the universe. It comes out of the transcendence into the manifest physical world and creates this sine wave, which is the form of all atoms, toroidal fields, bodies. Anything you see is coming from this sine wave, which is the torus field, which is the atom. All is atum. So this is the science of atum. There's Tom. Atum. All is atum. And this is the cross of Tum. That's why the Jews have the cancer. They call this sign here Tammuz. Tammuz. Thomas. Tammuz. Tom. There's the cross. That's the holy cross. It's the swastika. You see the swastika there? It's the yin and yang. It's all here. Everything is this. Everything. What we'll do now is we're going to start a fresh page, and what I'm going to do is, where's the black one? I'm going to transpose that circle to make a bigger circle because we want to have as much information as possible. So there's the equator again. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the other tropical point. And that's the symbol of the Earth in astrology. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting. So here we still have the Tropic of Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have the Tropic of Capricorn. And that's how the Egyptians have the Dendera stone. They have Aries here. And Libra over here.
Mm-hmm.
Taurus, Gemini, Scorpio, Sagittarius. Cancer, Capricorn. Pisces, Virgo. So what I'm going to do now is throw in the deacons. I'm going to probably not focus on the actual whole signs. I'm just going to do the 36.
Mm-hmm.
And see what stories we can come up with. So, Aries, the Lamb of God. Pisces, the Fisher of Men.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus says, I am the first. And the last. He is known as the Lamb of God, the shepherd of the flock.
Mm-hmm.
This is the flock. And he is known as the Fisher of Men, Pisces. He feeds the crowd with the virgin's bread and fishes.
Mm.
So I believe it's 5 fish and 7 loaves of bread was one of the numbers that was given in one of the Gospels.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's 5 and 7 make 12. So it's always going to be telling you tricky little numbers for the clued-in ones to know what it's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is talking about this. Everything. All the mythologies, Hercules, Jason, they're all on here.
Mm-hmm.
They're all here.
They're all here.
They're all here. And I'll show you how that is. It's just incredible. It's all here and people don't notice. So what we have in Pisces is a deacon called Cephas.
Mm-hmm.
And all the Bible readers, like myself, will know that Cephas was one of the names of Peter.
Oh.
You see?
Huh.
So when Jesus begins his ministry, before he begins his ministry,
Mm-hmm.
he runs into 2 fishermen. One is Peter and one is Andrew, his brother.
Mm.
Well, Andrew is Andromeda.
Oh.
Cephas and Andromeda. The first thing Jesus does is he says, I will call you Cephas, the rock.
Oh, wow.
You see? So what that's telling you is as the sun begins its ministry, it starts its ministry here. That's why in the Gospel of St. John, I think it's the first chapter in that Gospel,
Mm-hmm.
John turns around and says, look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world.
Mm.
Because this Lamb cleans the year of its sins, of its death in the winter. And that Lamb, when you see Aries coming in the spring, you know that it's time for a spring clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have a spring clean in Aries, the Lamb of God, because it cleans, it cleanses the winter, and Saturn being the ruler of the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn exalts here in Libra,
Mm-hmm.
opposite the sun's exaltation. You see? Interesting how the sun exalts here in the Lamb of God, Aries, but then it falls over here.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we call the autumn?
Fall. Mm-hmm.
The fall, because the sun is falling. And that's in astrology where the sun falls. Whereas Saturn falls over here. Because he was exalting down here. Look, he's down in hell. Winter. Infernal. And Satan, the ruler of the darkness, exalts here at the fall of the sun and begins his kingdom of darkness. So as the sun climbs up, he meets in Pisces 2 fishermen, Peter and Andrew, and one he calls Cephas, the rock. Now what do you know about Cephas?
Well, he was the monster that Perseus killed, right? Like, was he the big sea monster
That's
that Andromeda?
Cetus.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
Cephas.
is this his father then?
No.
Oh, then I don't know.
No, possibly. I'm not sure, because he is the father of the north. He's standing on Polaris.
Okay.
Cephas is like this. He's got his foot on top of Polaris, the northern star. So he, of course, he's the rock.
Okay. Well, I laughed because I thought because Andromeda was chained to a rock, right?
That's right.
You know, so that's what I thought you were, but I was thinking this guy.
That's the rock that is chained to it, more or less. Because the rock is here. You see?
Uh-huh.
Cephas is the rock. So Cephas is a deacon of Pisces, and it's the fisher of men.
Okay.
And see, this is where the gospel comes from. It's not literal. It's not like Jesus, you know, the Son of God literally comes down and then chooses a couple of fishermen, and it's all of this weird, strange storytelling, because it's telling this story.
Right.
This is the only story.
Wow, I just got goosebumps. That's awesome.
Then you have the band over here. That's the band that ties the 2 fish, the band.
Okay.
And the band is also tied to Cetus, the sea monster.
Okay.
The sea monster is dealing with the waters of the ventricle system. It's in here. There's waters in the ventricle system. First, third, second, third ventricle, etc. And so this is dealing with that. The sea monster. It has to do with the brain and its faculties of being hidden, you know, but being of magical powers, I guess, in that it is, well, this is the cerebrum, right?
Right.
Cerebrum. Bram is for ram, and so that's where Aries is. Okay, so here we have Perseus as well.
Okay. Perseus is up there.
Perseus. Now, here I have put Cassiopeia. Okay.
Oh gosh, she's there, huh?
Cassiopeia, but on the Dendera stone they've actually put Triangulum. As one of the deacons, and Ptolemy also puts Triangulum as one of the deacons. Now, Triangulum is a triangle that looks like this. This star here is called Anu. Have you heard of Anunnaki?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's right here in Aries, the triangle, the Trinity.
Okay.
It's also called the plough.
Okay.
Because when you see the plough coming, and this is called the Way of Enlil, by the way. Enlil is this star here. Or Aea. And
oh yeah,
Ael, I think it's something like that. This is going to be a little bit out. Anu, Aea, and this one turns out to be Enlil. And this is the Way of Enlil, and that's the plough. The triangle is the plough, which is brought out in the springtime so that there can be a harvest in Virgo. Alright, so that's what the triangle is all about. Okay? So, the mother of Peter in the Gospel gets sick. Well, that's Andromeda, remember? She was changed. She was because of the jealousy between Cassiopeia
Cassiopeia claimed to be the most beautiful, better than the Naiads or something.
Yeah. And her constellation looks like an M in the sky. Looks like an M. And that's Mary. And it's a deacon of Aries. And that M can be a W when, as the North stars go around, it'll be a W for 6 months, and then it'll be an M. And rest assured that that is Mary the Virgin Cassiopeia. Okay? And her son is Aries, the Lamb of God, the son. You see, because naturally it's going to be born in Cassiopeia.
I see.
And Perseus is always there, holding up the head of Medusa, which he has cut, and he's holding it up. Well, the reason why Perseus is always there is because this is the horizon. This is called the line of the earth in astrology. That line there from the ascendant to the descendant, that's called the line of the earth. And so you have 6 a.m. here, you have 12 p.m. here, 6 p.m. and 12 a.m. It's a 24-hour clock. Not only is it a year, spring, summer, autumn, winter, it's also morning, day, evening, and night. Right? So Perseus always, in the morning, slays Medusa, the star-lit night. You see how all these deacons, every single one of them, they are all there in the right place. Let's move on, because there's a lot of storytelling to do here. So here we have 3 more deacons: Orion, Auriga, and Eridanus. Eridanus is the Jordanus, the Jordan.
Okay.
Right? And remember, we have a ventricle system, a river system in Taurus, the cerebellum, the cerebellum. Right? Taurus is that, and then Aries is the cerebran. And that's here, the big brain, the small brain. And so Eridanus is representing the fluids, the river system in the cranium. Okay? And Orion the hunter is always of the morning energy, because what it does is it hunts and destroys the darkness of the night. So you see, you have these 2 heroes, Perseus slaying Medusa, and Orion right next door slaying the bull of Taurus. You see? Right. So, and that's the Jordanus. The Eridanus is the Jordan. Eridan. Jordan. You see? You just have to put a J there. Jordan. It's the same thing. Let's continue on. So here we have Lupus, the hare, Canis Major and Canis Minor, in the sign of the twins, Gemini. So that's going to be interesting. Here we have 2 twins, Castor and Gemini. And here we have 2 dogs. So that's Pollux and Castor. And this would be, Canis Major is Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. And over here you have, what's the star for Canis Minor? It's a very important star too.
I didn't bring my star.
Let's just get that. It's okay. So the point I'm making here is that there are twins in this region, and it's going to be very important.
And Lupus, is it a wolf? Is he a wolf? Because that's Professor Lupin. And
no, that's Lepus.
Okay.
Lepus, the hare.
Okay, so
Lupus.
Oh, so they're chasing the hare.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to understand.
And
a
hare,
big dog and 2 little dogs.
Hare is Hare.
Ah.
The sun, Horus. All right. Now Lupus The wolf is over here.
Okay.
That's lepus, the hare. Okay? Now, let's go to Cancer. Here we have Argus, the boat, the Argonauts, Jason and his Argonauts. That's the Arg, or the Ark, or the car of Ra.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about the boat, the Ark of Noah, see, that's the Ark, it's the boat.
Oh, right.
Canopus is here, the second brightest star, right next to Sirius. Beautiful when you see them together in the southern skies. In Australia, these are glorious constellations. And here you have Ursa Major and Ursa Minor.
Mm.
2 bears, 2 dogs, 2 twins, and you have an asterism here called the manger, which is why at Christmas, when the sun is over here, we have the brightest star on top of the Christmas tree. This is the Christmas tree.
Uh-huh.
Sirius. And we have a couple of donkeys in the manger. You always have Asinellus australis and Asinellus borealis.
Uh-huh.
The small donkey, the little donkey. Okay, so we've got 2 donkeys, 2 bears, 2 dogs, 2 twins, and a boat. Remember Noah and his ark, Argus, and these are all the twins. And it's funny because there's a, there's an asterism here called Columba. Columba, the dove. And remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
And over here, Corvus, the crow, is a deacon of Leo.
Makes sense.
The dove and the crow that Noah in his Argus, is associated with. And from here, from the Jordan River, from the river, all the way up to here, this is called the watery heavens. You see? The ark of Noah. Noah is the sun. Remember, everything goes back to the sun. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, so let's... There's some more twins in here too. I'm just not... yeah. Alright, we'll come back to that. I just want to get around first.
Oh, right.
Because then more stuff will come to me, you know, and we can fill it out a bit more. It's getting quite full, isn't it?
There's so much.
So we have Crater here, the cup, the Holy Grail.
Okay, and we're in Libra. No, we're in Leo. Oh, right.
Leo.
Yeah, the Holy Grail.
The cup. So this is where the Neoplatonists say that souls come in from the portal of men here at Cancer. This is the gate of men, and this is the gate of the gods. Because at the Tropic of Capricorn, through Saturn, the Grim Reaper, we leave the plane of materialism. So that's why Satan, the god of this world, or Saturn, the ruler of Earth, element Earth Capricorn, he is the one who releases us at the Tropic of Capricorn. And that's why Macrobius says in his Dream of Scipio, the commentary, he says that men come from here, from the Milky Way, through the moon, at the Tropic of Cancer, and then they descend and they do this arc. And when they come to Leo, they drink of the cup of Lethe, the crater. It's in your heart, the deception of the heart, which causes you to follow your heart and the wrong passions and lusts and desires, and deceives you, and you drink and you forget about the gods that you were, and you become one who drinks of this dangerous cup of intoxication.
And sort of the counter side of Leo as an archetype that could be more self, you know, instead of, the hero or the champion, but be more, look at me! Yeah.
Yep, that's right, the lower ego. The passions of the lion. And then you have Hydra, You see? So again, you have this watery system here. The serpent Hydra with its head in Cancer and its tail over here in Virgo, and it comes across here. And it's always associated with the water of the boat of the heavens and all the twins that Noah collects. You know, God brought all the animals by twos. You know,
Right.
it's all here.
Wow.
Hydra, Crater and Corvus, the crow. And then we come to Virgo. And here we have...
Is it readable since I copied?
Oh yeah, no, it is. Yeah, Booties, of course, Booties. And Centaurus, a centaur like Sagittarius. And we have Coma Berenices, which is the hair of the well, it's associated with Virgo. So again, Booties is considered to be the shepherd. He has a staff, and he is the groom of Virgo. So this would be Joseph, and associated with Saturn, because Joseph and Mary are none other than Saturn and Rhea, Maria. Okay, so that's Maria, and that's Joseph, the Good Shepherd. You see? All right, let's continue on. I want to get all these down because they are all from the Dendera stone, and they are still there today, as you can see them. There are 88 constellations now. Now that's an interesting number. It's the number of Jesus, 888, in old Orthodox theology. And how many keys to the piano? 88.
That's beautiful.
And there's many other harmonics and details about 88 which make this a very important, very, very significant number. The original constellations, what they call the originals, are 48. Remember, because that's 12 constellations and 36 deacons make 48.
Okay.
So supposedly another 40 were added. But I think they were always there.
Oh, right.
That's what I've come to believe.
Okay.
And they were just considered to be not as significant. They're just like asterisms, but they add to the storytelling. For instance, that's an asterism, and that's an asterism. That but they're also considered to be constellations. You see, so that's now one of the 88 constellations. Betraying Jesus. So I can show you the gospel here. I can show you how the gospels are on here. Hercules, Jason and the Argonauts. I can do thousands, endless stories. So it's only about time, as much time as I have. It's always limited. But anyway, let's see what we can get through. So Libra, we have Lupus, we have Corona Borealis, and we have also Crux, the Southern Star. Crux. Now, this is the cross. This cross. This is the crown of thorns, Corona Borealis. You see, when the sun is crucified here at the equinox, the Virgin is always near the cross. She's always near the crossing, so you always see Mary mourning at her son being crucified. It's just talking about the equinox, which is called Judgment Day, by the way, the 23rd of September in the Jewish system. Judgment Day. Atonement Day.
Yeah.
Right? So you have the Virgin at the cross. There's the cross. Not only does the sun cross over the equinoctial point, but it's also in the cross. And there's the victim. This is also called the victim. Well, the sun is a victim. And that's the crown of thorns. Right? It's all there, storytelling in Libra. Let's continue on. So the three deacons of Scorpio, Ophiuchus, Hercules, And let's have a look. Serpents, the serpent.
Mm.
Now again, when Eve, Virgo, and Adam, Booties, eat from the tree of the good and evil, the fruit of the tree of good and evil. So this is good, and now we're going to go into evil, Saturn's territory. This is evil. So when Adam and Eve, the sun and the moon, cross over here, they eat of the tree of good and evil, right? And the serpent, which has its head, serpent's kaput, is right there next to the scales of Libra.
Huh.
Right? Justice, being judged. That's why when the sun comes here, it goes through the scales of Libra to be judged on Judgment Day. And there is Adam and Eve. They eat from the tree of good and evil. The sun goes down, and the serpent is always there next to that cross, or next to Libra, which is the tree of the crossing. You see? Mm-hmm. So there is the story of the Garden of Eden, right there. Now let's go down to Sagittarius. Sagittarius has Lyra, the harp, Ara, the altar, and Draco, the dragon.
Mm.
So when Jesus gets betrayed, when the sun gets betrayed in Scorpio for 30 pieces of silver, which is the days of the moon, then Jesus must go into the Garden of Gethsemane to be tempted by the devil. There's Draco, the dragon. Because the sun always before winter gets tempted to betray the world, to go and die and never come back. But the 25th of December has always been called Dies Invictus. Dies Invictus Solis, I think it's called. Anyway, in English it's the day of the invincible sun. 25th of December. The Son of God, Jesus, of course. So in the Gospels, this is the Garden of Gethsemane, and where the olive trees are. You see, because Jupiter is the ruler here, and Jupiter Zeus is Jesus. So Jesus always gets tempted before he hands over to Satan to rule in the kingdom of darkness, the night, the winter. You see? So, and this is Zeus and Kronos. He is a Titan and he is an Olympian. So just as Jesus stands on the mountain of Olives, so Zeus is the king of the Mount of Olympus. You see? And remember, he plays his harp and he makes a sacrifice on an altar before he goes fighting against his father, the Titans, and conquering the Titans. And that's the altar, because it's the only altar on the ecliptic. And of course, that's where you would sacrifice. That's your last sacrifice before you, as Manly P. Hall says, as we come down from Cancer and we drink of the cup of intoxication, and we get judged at Libra, and we get betrayed, then we get sacrificed, and then we go, Saturn takes us out of this realm, the Grim Reaper.
You think this could be Orpheus too? On the lyre?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes, it is.
Cool.
Because Orpheus is the same archetype, the Fucus, Orpheus. Alright, so here we have Capricorn, we have Sagitta, the arrow, and of course the arrow is pointing to here. It's always pointing to that crossing there. So you've got an arrow, you've got Aquila, the eagle, and you've got Delphinus, the dolphin. Okay? Now, in here there's an asterism as well called the flocks. So you see, when Jesus was born in the manger, there's the goat, and there is the shepherds tending to the flocks. The shepherds are in Capricorn, you see. So there were shepherds outdoors when the Lord was born. It's all dealing with the stars. Pegasus, the flying horse. Pisces australis, the little fish. And I'm trying to remember these off by heart. It annoys me to have to look to these, because when
It's
I'm
a good test.
casually thinking, I can name the 3 deacons, which I recommend you do, because when you do,
Oh yeah, I'm doing it now.
then you are more honed into these certain. And I haven't even been careful to name which is the first and which is the second and which is the third. I'm just putting them in there.
Right.
So you can check those yourself as well, because it's significant as well. Because as these rule 36 parts of your body, as we said before, that's the nose, that's the something else, and that's the hearing. These are very important, because if you see, so if you see this as a 24-hour clock, you've got 12 midday, 12 midnight, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., then you can absolutely just transpose this straight onto a chart. For instance, that one there. Anyway, we won't look at that, but that'll be an astrological chart. The ascendant will be here, the descendant will be here, MC, IC. Right? And you'll understand why, how the house system works, and it all comes from this. And that's just for the day. And then you can just translate that into the year. Equinox, solstice, equinox, solstice. Then you can translate it into the body. So you put the head always over here, the head, and then the arms, and you go right around, and then the 2 feet, the 2 fish, are hitting the back of the head. So you put the head of the human being here, Adam Kadmon. You have the day cycle, you have the year cycle, you have everything. This is the only way to do it. So the last one there, so we had Pegasus, we had Pisces australis, and Cygnus, the swan. Alright, so now, I mean, all the stories about flying horses, Pegasus and Perseus riding the horse, it's here. Okay, the swan, Cygnus, and Altair, the eagle over here, Altair, the dolphin, Sagitta. All of these things are in our mythologies. You can name a story, any story, and I'll show you where it is on there.
Yeah.
It's all about timing, you know. Samson and Delilah, it's on here. Samson is the sun. He kills a lion, and then the next day he eats honey from the lion. Well, the honey's in Cancer. Honeymoon. And that asterism, the manger, is also called the honeypot.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And guess what? And there's the bear who loves the honey. And so when Samson eats from the carcass of the lion the honey, it's just talking about the sun in its glory as it comes through summer in Cancer, and it's victorious. You can slay a lion. You know, it's a man slaying a lion. And then is supposedly with a jawbone. That's the jawbone. Triangulum, because that plough or that jawbone is what is ploughing through the stars. So it's Samson who kills 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone, a bone of an animal, you know, a jawbone. And so it's the sun and triangulum, starting the year and slaying the year and the stars on the ecliptic. Yeah. And then Delilah, you know, he gets betrayed by Delilah. Well, that's Virgo. She's the doorway to the darkness, because when the sun hits 4 p.m. every day and it goes down here, it gets betrayed. It's like, oh no, it's sunset, we can't see anymore, we can't go out swimming, we can't grow our plants, we have to withdraw. And we're like, oh damn, that sun was so good today. You know, so it gets betrayed into the night. Jason is looking for the golden fleece. Well, there's his boat. As he goes around, he's looking for the golden fleece. Well, where would that be? Well, it's where the Son of Gold exalts in the Lamb, which has the golden fleece.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think we can leave it at that.